Welcome to the Legion Outriders podcast, a member of the Radio Free Tattooing Network.
You must unlearn what you have learned.
Your source for the latest Legion news, opinion, and analysis.
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
John Archiquette.
Will somebody get this big walking carpet out of my way?
Matt Turner.
I'm not afraid.
And Joshua Gray.
You will be.
What's going on, Outriders? John, Josh, and Matt coming at you, celebrating our first Wookiee Life Day as a podcast. So, what'd you guys do for Wookiee Life Day?
I think I beat Matt in Legion.
Yeah,
I sure did. Yeah. That's what I did.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I invited Lumpy and Itchy over, and we braided each other's hair.
You lumped each other's itches, or
I don't even want
Itched
to.
each other's lumps.
Yeah, there you go.
One of
there
those,
it is. Yeah.
Yikes.
All right. Well, if you did celebrate Wookiee Life Day, that's all right because FFG has presents for everyone.
Oh, geez. It's like Christmas, not Thanksgiving.
It is.
On this, and we must say, this is a pre-Thanksgiving episode. We're stepping outside of our normal release dates of Friday to bring you this episode a little bit early.
Because once again, John is fleeing to the Great White North.
This is true. Other White North this time.
Wearing his mucklucks and shooshing his pooping dog sleds, because apparently that's all they do is
I think that's a
they
technical
run and
term.
they poop and
I'm not even sure.
they spray it at the people behind them
And
as they run.
And let's just be honest.
Yeah.
There's way too much good stuff that's been dropped in the last 2 days to wait until Friday.
Yeah.
I mean, this is stuff we've got to get out now. So
And plus,
Exactly.
for all those people that are commuting for the holidays, you can listen to us now. So you're welcome.
Yeah, you can listen to us while you're sitting there in your Black Friday line before going to beat people.
when your drunk, crazy uncle starts rambling, you can just put in your AirPods and
exactly.
look like you're paying attention.
Did you get those on Black Friday?
No,
Oh,
because
He got them like a week early.
Yeah.
Ah.
Ooh.
Somebody buys
Somebody's
a
got money.
brand new phone.
Like a
and
sugar
all of a sudden
mama.
they're
Oh,
showing
yeah.
that stuff off. All right, no, seriously though, we got some great stuff this week. We're gonna go over the
so
rules
much.
because
So
we got some
much.
new rules now, or rules interpretations. Things got better, a lot better.
A lot better.
Look at that, we're all happy.
I know,
Yes,
even
we're
me.
We're all happy with
Like,
what's happened so far.
Key positions got unborked. So
Our friend
good
from
job
Germany,
for FFG.
our friend from Germany, did not lie to us.
I know,
Thank
right?
you, Steven.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
We got the official word from FFG that all of those wonderful things that we saw
That we talked about last week.
have come to fruition, and
Yeah.
now we have some cards to go over. So super stoked about that. And
Yay, power creep.
yeah,
Power creep. God.
yeah.
Could you just be happy?
Hey, we made it about 5 minutes
Yeah,
of the episode
yeah, it was
before
like
before
before.
Josh said something depressing.
There you
So
go. We all over our parade.
Yeah.
the urinator.
That's me.
No, it's good things, good tidings, happy, joyful feelings all of the time.
Yeah, so we're gonna go through all that stuff, and we also got a little bit of news from LVO. So we'll
Yeah.
talk about
Big
that.
news.
Yeah,
I
big
mean,
news.
And also out
It
of
grows
Adepticon.
and grows and grows.
And Adepticon too. So yeah.
Yeah.
So all kinds of good stuff. So before we get too wrapped up into that, Matt, what do we have from Star Wars news?
Apparently, John Williams is making some music for the new Edge of the Galaxy ride at Disneyland.
All right,
Okay.
moving on.
Cool.
Good news.
All right, that's about
Okay, there we go.
John Williams never leave us.
it. Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah,
what a
'cause
treasure.
then we'll have to do this with Danny Elfman.
That was a Simpsons reference.
No, that was a Family
Family
Guy
Guy
reference.
Could have sworn it was Simpsons.
Family
No.
Guy. Blue
Was it?
Harvest. Yeah, it was the Blue Harvest
Oh,
thing. Yeah.
right. Thank you. Okay,
Yeah.
never mind. I
And
was
then
like,
remember
you
they
never
started
do
playing the
Simpsons
theme song
references.
from People's Court. Dun, dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun.
You weren't even alive then.
The People's Court? I absolutely was alive for
Wow.
People's Court.
Sure.
I
But
like
was it
3.
Judge Wapner?
It was not Judge Wapner.
It was probably not Judge Wapner.
Okay,
Yeah, okay.
see, there's a difference there.
I think it was Judge Judy by then. Anyway.
It was her own show.
Oh, whatever. Anyway.
Okay. So what's the real stuff? So do we want to go back
Gin.
and reconfirm?
Yeah,
the,
Let's- yeah.
The gin and juice?
We'll do this like the American Legion. We'll do old business before we get to the new business.
Okay. Are we following
Haven't you ever been
Robert's
to an
rules
American
of order?
Legion?
I
meeting?
can't say as I have. I think my wife's actually a member though. It's kind of weird.
Does she go down to the post and drink back beers with the boys?
I assume
that's what
she's
that's
doing
what
when
she
I'm
does
here.
when
yeah.
we're here, right? Yeah. She's at the American
She's much
Legion.
more fun than I am. With her grand poobah helmet.
All right. Legion time. So Jyn Erso was confirmed. We do have a positive
Sightings in the
confirmation of
wild.
that from FFG.
Pre-orders are up. Yeah.
And she looks real good. Like, first of all, I mean, let's just go.
All the sculpts are great.
Just straight up aesthetics.
Dude. So they did one thing differently that they haven't done on any of the ones that I've noticed. They put in a 360 unpainted
Yes.
of her. And it's
Yep.
like, oh, so you can actually see that the sculpt is an absolute,
It's beautiful.
It's
and
good.
then the painted
Yeah.
version too was good. But yeah,
it was. I
love
think they
that.
stepped up their game on the painted version. It did. It looked like they were sculpting on her cheekbones. It was fantastic.
It was contoured.
Contoured. That's the word.
There
Yes.
he is.
But like the sculpt looks awesome. They got her with the Tonfa, looking.
I'm
Right.
sure they have a special name for
Now,
it.
I don't know if that's like the follow through or she's getting ready to show somebody the pimp hand strong, with the backhand. But yeah, it's a great pose. It's aggressive. It's strong. I love it. It's probably the best pose I've seen out of a model yet.
I really did. I like the Vader and Luke, the original ones.
Yeah.
I mean, they're good.
Boba's pretty sweet.
They're
too.
okay.
Boba's cool too.
Yeah.
Boba's
Yeah.
dynamic, but I
This is
really
good.
like and the flowing scarf too.
Right. Just the whole thing.
It's
just really
sharp.
good.
Very
Yeah.
dynamic.
Yeah.
So well done for that. Just right off the bat. Now the card itself, or the actual stuff that they've previewed for
Stat
it,
line. Yeah.
looks real good.
Uh-huh.
Looks real good. So
creep.
it looks.
You're a power creep.
It's only power creep when it's
Yes,
rebels.
I am.
When
Yeah,
it's rebels,
right.
it's
Yeah,
power
yeah.
creep. When it's imperial, it's like, well, this is okay. Like, this is better.
What is it, like Danger Sense 4? I mean, like,
Yeah.
come on. That's a little. Oof.
So right off the bat, they had a new upgrade slot that we haven't seen yet.
Yep.
They've got the little
little
gun.
sidearm.
Yeah, little sidearm. And it's tough to read with some of these, but it looks like it comes with the A100 pistol config, which says range 1-2, 2 red dice, 1 white dice, pierce 1. But then it has a reconfigure,
Yeah.
So you'll flip the card.
and it says you flip the card. So of course we only
We're going
saw
to see what's on the back.
one side of it.
It's going to be something longer ranged.
Sure.
You know.
But it's cool because it allows a lot of versatility, and it looks like it's 0 points, which means that she gets it automatically.
Yeah, they obviously didn't put it on the card so you can flip between the two modes and
Yeah.
not confuse
Right.
you with I could shoot with 2 different guns. Woohoo!
But I mean that gun in range 1-2, 1 or 2 red, 1 white with pierce.
Yeah.
It's
nasty.
pretty good.
That's a good.
Yeah.
That's a good
Yeah,
gun.
that's good.
Now her base card by itself, it looks like 130 points.
Yeah, that's
so
that's
she's not cheap.
yeah. And if you tool her up, yeah, with some of the
But
other
for
stuff
what
that
you
put on
get.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, for what you get though, it's real good. So she is 6 health, white dice,
Which I think is
3
the
morale.
most. That is the most. It's tied with Luke.
She
for
and
amount of
Luke have the
health,
same. He is 3 morale too, so I think we're
Oh, yeah.
equal there. Surge to crit and surge for defense. So
good.
Love it.
amazing.
Defense die is
Defense size white.
okay.
So-
So I mean, surged on a white defense die is still what 5 up.
It's a 5 up
I mean,
save, so it's not great.
it's not great.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You're not going to want to leave her out in the open. Now she's not listed with a range attack right off the bat, but she does have 4 black dice with her melee attack,
Yeah,
which is real good.
which is really good.
And it's suppressive.
The melee is suppressive.
It's suppressive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Written across
Wow.
the bottom of her card, it says suppressive. Which would
must
that
have
carry
missed
over
that
to the
one.
gun too?
Yeah.
No, probably not.
No, because it's with
Yeah, it is on the
it's
card.
attached to the weapon, not
Yep.
up there on the card.
Yep.
Yeah. So the skills that she has. So she has the quick thinking ability.
And these are all new skills.
Yep.
To the game.
Yeah.
We haven't
So-
seen these anywhere on any of the on any of the
So
cards.
is that
before.
an action? I'm
So
having
it
trouble
is an
with
Yeah, it
action.
is.
Yep.
Okay.
And it's gain 1 aim and dodge token.
Holy synergies, Batman.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's real good. So she's gonna be adding that instead of just doing one or the other. She can do those. Now, Danger Sense 4. Do you want to kind of explain to us what Danger Sense means?
I want to kind of read it to me. My eyes are.
Okay. So basically what Danger Sense does is it allows you to when you're defending, it allows you to add defense dice equal to the number of suppression tokens you have up to the Danger Sense number. So she has Danger Sense 4. So let's say I've got a squad of stormtroopers that light her up and I do 4 hits.
Okay.
You know, 4 hits are left after dodge, cover, whatever. 4 hits. but she's got 3 suppression tokens on her at the time I make the attack. So she gets to roll 7 defense dice. Yeah. So it's almost
like an impervious type thing.
Kind of,
almost,
right.
yeah.
But it's dependent on how much you
Right.
have. So she gets tankier the more she gets shot at.
But it's
I
all about.
like
I think
that.
you gotta find that sweet spot.
You
of
do.
the right amount of
Right,
suppression.
because
to
you've got
have.
too much suppression, then you start losing actions.
Yeah.
But that's where, I mean, you don't lose an action until you hit 3 suppression with her. So, you know, if you can kind of ride the line and carry 2 suppression around with you, you're rolling 2 more defense dice on every time you're defending.
Yep.
Which is, you know, white defense dice, but, you know, volume of dice. Eventually, you're gonna, you know, if you're only making 2 saves, you know, you got one save you've got to make.
Yeah.
Well, your chances with white dice and a defensive surge of hitting that, blocking that 1 with 3 dice, obviously is a much better proposition than just the 1. So yeah, I mean, I think that's a really, really strong ability. But what that does is it forces you to attack her with things that are going to surge damage through.
Yeah.
So big things. Which if you think
Like
about
Death
it,
Stars?
like
Yeah.
Death Stars, right? It's kind of thematic there, you know. A squad of stormtroopers shooting at her right off the bat, probably not going to do a whole mess of damage. I like my chances if you can shoot, you know, a T-47 at her, an AT-ST at her, bikes at her, right off the bat, you know, take her down right away.
Yeah.
At her.
At.
Yeah,
Stop.
we went all Mars Attack on us. What's
Sure.
going on?
You know, but what that does is that makes her really vulnerable to that first round maximum firepower,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
You
that's
know, if you can plug 4 damage into her and make her make white dice saves right off the bat with no help from Danger Sense, that's the way to go. You got to surge damage onto it right away.
Oh, sweetie, you can give me all the white dice in the world. I will not make any saves for you.
Right.
That is not happening.
So, and also with the danger sense, you can choose not to remove suppression.
Right.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
that can be
you
big.
can choose to card it
Yeah.
around. Yeah, at the end of the round.
Now,
You can go, I'm good. Thanks, though.
if she takes that duck and cover, to
Sure.
give herself a
Yeah.
suppression right off the bat,
Right.
then you're going to start seeing.
Right.
So I think she's got that upgrade slot.
She does,
yeah?
yep, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Another stat that she has in there, infiltrate, and we're starting to see a few of these. So infiltrate, of course, is you may
Infiltrate.
deploy-
That sounds interesting.
right. You may deploy anywhere beyond range 3 of any enemy units or all enemy units, which, depending on when you decide to place that unit out there,
Sure.
could be right away.
If you're blue, now there's advantages and disadvantages to that. You know, if you're the blue player, you can put Jyn Erso anywhere on the board because there's no enemy units down yet. You can put her wherever. You can put her in. You put her in the enemy's deployment zone if you want.
Yep.
That's a little hilarious.
That is a little hilarious.
So such a bad idea.
It can be.
It can be, but it can't. Well, the one command card that we've seen out of her makes it maybe not a bad idea.
We'll get to
John,
that
give
in
me
a
the
second.
command
Yeah.
card.
Oh,
real quick. Give me the command card, and then we'll
all
go
right.
ahead and
All right,
Okay,
we're
rebellion.
all out of order
because this
here.
all ties
Dogs
together.
and cats living
Yeah, yeah,
together. All right.
Mass hysteria.
So the first command card, the only command card we've seen previewed for her, is her 1-pip card called Rebellious, and it says Jyn Erso gains charge first and foremost. The only card is 1-pip, and the order goes to her. So she
Because
gains
she's an
charge.
operative.
Yep.
All of her orders are going to go to her.
She's not an operative. She's a commander.
Is she really?
She's a
Yes.
commander. Yep.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this order goes
she's
to
a
her.
good one.
I missed that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she gains charge, and once per round, when an enemy unit at range 1 to 2 and in line of sight of Jyn Erso activates, before it performs its rally step, Jyn Erso may gain 1 suppression token to either perform an attack against that unit or to perform a free move action. Of course, if she gets the free move action, then she gets to attack because of charge.
Right. So if somebody is dumb enough to put a unit within range 1 to 2 of her,
Yeah.
and this
and
allows
she
her to
activates, right? She can run up and punch somebody in the face and engage with them in your deployment zone, and now you've got all kinds of shenanigans
And she's already feeding her danger sense.
Sure, absolutely, right? So, yeah, I mean, that's...
This is very dangerous!
But, I mean, and what that also does is if she can spool up some of that suppression and weather a couple of shots, now what you do is you've got somebody in your backfield, turn one, that you've got to focus on killing instead of moving towards objectives.
Yeah. Now, she's an expensive decoy. If you're only using her as a decoy, that's an expensive decoy.
There's another unit that gets infiltrate in this release, too.
Yeah, we'll get to that, too.
You know, so...
let's just skip to the end of that one and really just make his head explode.
Oh, my God.
I mean, the Pathfinders get infiltrate also. So,
yes, they do. We are not going to talk about them yet, Josh.
Stay on
fine.
point. Stay on topic.
We'll square the circle later.
Diagnosed with adult diagnosed ADD. Anyway, so before we leave Jyn Erso on the beach...
So we also got Nimble.
We got Nimble on there.
Sharpshooter 1.
Sure.
And Sharpshooter 1.
And that's something we've seen before.
Yeah.
You know, Nimble and Sharpshooter we've seen before.
Yeah, so... But, I mean, it's still... her having quick thinking, giving her that aim and that dodge, especially on the turn that she has charge, I mean, that's...
I don't know how keen your eyes are, but actually, if you look behind the 1 pip, you see she also has a 2 pip.
If I look behind the
Wow.
Well,
Yeah.
She does have a 2
whoa.
pip,
That's,
yes.
Whoa.
You may not, if you're not used to paying attention to the details.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say the one that's flipped over is probably a 3 pip.
No.
Well, we can't confirm
Maybe.
that. That's just wild conjecture, sir.
Would you like to know the odds of that card being a 3 pip?
Never
Would you
tell
like
me
to
the
know more?
odds.
They're high. They're very high.
Ah, thank you.
Thank
Well
you.
done.
There we
Well
go.
done. Well done.
Thematic Rogue One
Yeah,
jokes.
no,
Yay!
that was on point.
Yeah,
Okay.
and if we're going to speculate just about the obvious things, there's, the range 2 movement. So
Right.
she moves to, she has, the unique words. So you can't take 2 Jyn Ersos in the same army.
Wouldn't that be
Duh.
And she's a commander. So that wraps up everything that we know about Jyn Erso.
Except for the shoulder of Krennic in one of those upgrade cards that's standing there disapproving.
Okay, yes, there's Krennic's disappointed
Well,
shoulder.
of course. I mean, Krennic and Death Troopers are going to be the next.
Everybody's just like, come on, just tell us already.
Yeah. I hope that's one of his command cards. Krennic's disappointed shoulder.
It's gonna be something like Krennic's ambition or something like that, so you can force choke him with it. or something.
Don't choke on your ambitions.
Yeah.
And what's the one that are you
Stand
blind?
there,
Deploy the
mix.
garrison. Deploy
Oh,
the garrison.
that's-
is
yeah.
going
Deploy
to
the
be
That's got to
garrison
be
is
the
gonna be
3-pip one.
that will be
Right, yeah.
for sure.
That would be fantastic. Ooh, exciting.
It is kind of like watching the Star Wars movies now. I'm going through for the characters who haven't been released yet, and I'm listening for like iconic lines. And be like, that's going to be a command card,
Right.
for sure. All right.
So when we get
It's a fun
Kylo Ren,
exercise.
what's his command card going to be? Just him going as he like slashes
Punching
things?
himself in
I
the
mean,
stomach.
Like,
Oh,
how
there
do
we
you
go.
write that on the top of the card? Just like H's and N's and G's with some spaces?
Yeah,
Is
you
that
just
how that
kind of
works?
face roll the keyboard. and
Right,
just
yeah.
Hit print.
All right. The other one we saw
But wait, there's
previewed
more.
and Josh just spoiled for us was the Rebel Pathfinders.
Pathfinders.
These guys
And
look really good.
They look really good, and I'm
I love their little
super
helmets.
excited about the fact that they included POW.
Yep, Pow
And
and
Biston.
Biston.
And
And
I'm
Biston,
going
yeah.
to do a victory lap here. Okay?
You did call it. All
I'm
right.
going to do a victory lap here because, about a month and a half, 2 months ago, we were talking and we were doing one of the, hey, what does Legion need kind of things. And
Yeah.
I don't know if this was in the works or they just listened to us, but
I'm sure it was in. Well,
Yeah.
there is precedent.
Yeah, there
but
is.
please continue
Yeah.
on.
if you look at the Biston card, it's unique, right? It's not just like add a mini with this gun, right? There's a little dot next to him. You can only have one of that card in your army. So now this is the first time.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I'm looking right
Look
here.
at
I don't
the
see
upgrade
nothing.
card.
You see the cool guy that doesn't look at explosions? That
Yeah.
Does
card,
it look like
the
Biston?
artwork.
Hold on.
That's just a guy holding a gun.
But it's the
hold
same
on,
exact
hold on.
artwork from an X-wing card.
Yeah, that's the
that's
the
what
Biston
you're-
X-wing artwork. But if you look, you can't see the name, but there's a dot next to it.
Yeah, there sure
which means it's a
is.
unique character, which means you can only have it in one
With
slot.
Impact 1, Ion 1. Is that the
So
one?
that's in
Range 1 to 4.
right, and in in Rogue One, the door gun that he was rocking is an ion gun, and remember, it snapped the leg of the AT-ACT. So Impact 1, Ion 1.
You just throw an alphabet soup at you too?
Oh, he did, yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay,
did.
I don't know what that was.
Sorry, I know my Star Wars.
Wow,
So,
no kidding. That was impressive.
you know, they did an interview with
you're
him,
on.
and they asked him how he could shoot Imperials, and he said it's easy. You just don't lead them so much.
Don't lead him so much. The armor slows him down. Yeah. How can you kill them?
But anyways, so now we have confirmed that we're going to have minor characters as squad upgrades to normal squads in the game, which I think is all kinds of awesome and opens up all kinds of. I mean, think about it. When you get to clones, how many named clones are there?
All of them.
Yeah, right. But I mean, but no, I mean, there's a lot. You know, you've got
They all
Rex
have
and
names.
Wolf and you know. Yeah, okay, they all have
Gregor.
names, but I mean, how many character clones were there in the Clone Wars?
In Death, we all have a name.
Yeah.
Going through the series, at least a dozen or so.
Right.
Yeah.
So now you have all of these options that, you know, when clone armies come out.
I've got
know?
Heavy in my unit. He's cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
All right, so the sculpts look awesome, though. We got,
Yeah, they do.
4
Again,
human
great job.
dudes.
Helmets that aren't embarrassed to be seen in.
Yeah, exactly. And, Pow and Bistian. So, awesome. They all look good. Sculpts
Yeah.
are beautiful.
Yeah.
I like the paint job that they did is awesome as well. It's,
Right.
you know, very earth tony and true to what you see in the movie.
Sure.
Well, let's talk about the stats.
But yeah, we'll
60
look at the card
points
right there.
for a basic troop of Pathfinders there.
So they're operatives. I'm sorry, not operatives. They're special forces. So they're
Elites.
not troops.
Yeah.
Well, they are troops. Right. They're not core though.
Right.
60 points for 4 of them. 1 health each. 2 morale. White dice save.
that's
Not
Two
surprising.
morale,
I mean, yeah.
Surge to hit and to defend.
Right.
So we're good there. Their normal rifle is range 1 to 3, 2 white dice. So kind of a fleet trooper.
Better-
longer
it's
range
better-
fleet trooper,
A300. This
essentially.
is the same gun that the Rider on the ATRT uses.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Is it?
Did not realize
A300.
that.
I thought it was an A280. On the
That's
ATRT.
the regular troops.
Right, yeah, I
but
thought-
no,
well, I-
A300 specifically
okay.
on the ATRT.
Gotcha.
Yep, and they're
That is
they're-
one thing I know.
That's a thing you know.
Yeah.
Good job. They're kitted out with all kinds of upgrade slots, including the new weapon slot that we saw.
Uh-huh.
Now that one is an A300 short range configuration.
That
6
does not
points.
happen on the ATRT.
No. And it's range 1 to 2 with 1 red die.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it's got the reconfigure option, so we don't know what the back is,
Right.
but it's
And it's not an action to reconfigure, it looks like.
Nope.
You just
Just
kind of
flip it.
Yep.
Hey, I wonder if you can. No, never mind. So there's no reason to like have part of the squad do configured and the other one's not. It's
Oh,
like,
I'm
you always
sure
wanna
that you've
take
got
the-
to, you know,
think you always wanna
it's
take
for
the
the
red.
entire squad.
well, it's also
Yeah.
not free. It's 6 points, so
It is 6 points.
Yeah. So this one's unlike the other one.
Fooey on you if you don't take it though,
Yeah.
because I think that's an
It
awesome
looks
6
it looks
points.
good. Now we saw that the one the unique card in there is probably Bistian. Both there's 2 of them in there. Okay, one is Bistian for sure, or we think so. The other one we're not positive, but based on the weapon loadout configurations, it looks like it's the guy taking a knee with the sniper rifle, possibly.
Kind of thing.
Now, here's the thing about that.
He's not a Moncal. I know it's bothering me too.
Or Duros. But here's the thing about that. There's an awful lot of white space at the top of that card. Okay?
It just says gun.
Or another 3-letter word,
What?
PAO,
Oh, it could be.
or POW, or PAU, or however you spell
but
it.
Powell's
weapon-
holding just a regular.
Okay, but I
Yeah.
mean, that doesn't necessarily mean that the artwork has to be exactly the same. The artwork doesn't have to be exactly consistent with the weapon he's holding in the sculpt, which would be odd, but, there's not a whole lot of space there for anything more than like a 3-letter word. I mean,
That's
look at how much
possible.
white space there is there. So it may be that your other upgrade option is also unique.
No, I think it just says gun.
Yeah.
Gun. Okay.
I think it's just gun. But anyway, that one adds the leader keyword,
Right.
which is interesting. We haven't seen that from a weapon
well,
yet.
now there's something to that
Yeah.
because
So that's
Yeah,
one of
damn
the upgrades. Now we can't see the point totals for either of those. We know that they're both 1 to 4 range. But then, the one for Bishan adds 1 impact and 1 ion. So that it looks like it's going to be a real good card.
Yeah.
Real good upgrade. Who knows what the point total is going to be or how many dice and of what color it throws out. That could really affect on how good it is. But, we haven't seen anything that has impact and ion before.
Right.
Like that.
That is pretty cool. Well,
no, I mean, okay.
We have.
We have, but
nobody plays it.
No. At range 1 to 4, that's pretty good. Yeah. Actually, I do play that from time to time. Just because you like to bring vehicles, Matt.
Yeah. Hey, if we have time, I can tell you about the game me and Josh had.
We probably won't have time.
Oh.
Yeah.
Josh won.
Yeah. We already covered that part.
With Rebel Pathfinders, some of the stats they also have Danger Sense 3. So, talk about Danger Sense 4 with Jyn, but they have Danger Sense 3. They have Dauntless, and that means after you rally, if you're suppressed but not panicked, you may gain 1 suppression to perform a free action move. A free move action.
Is super cool.
Yeah.
Because that totally fits in with their fluff where they are moving fast at the beginning, getting into position, and then boom, we're here, and we're turtling up and holding this area and causing as much noise as possible. I think that is perfect. Well done.
Yep. And with having Danger Sense, I mean, we know that having suppression
not quite red armor,
thing.
So red dice armor, which I totally understand, but something that's really nice too.
And they have Infiltrate too. So, they can be dropped out in the front lines just like Jyn and, cause some havoc
that's totally
early
what
on.
I see is like 2 or 3 units of these things. Like that's going to be half your army with Jyn and like 3 of these guys, and it's going to be
just
awesome.
dumped into the enemy's backfield.
Well,
deal with
somewhere,
all of this.
I mean,
deal with all.
Pick
or,
a flank and roll it up.
Yeah.
Right. Or, dump them all on objectives.
Yeah.
Like recover the supplies.
Come shift
Thanks,
half my army now.
Come chase me now. Yeah.
And I feel like that's probably the best way to use them is to use them to drop onto objectives right away, grab some cover, and force them to displace you.
But we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. The forces in the game that make your opponent change their game plan based on what you're bringing, like the snipers and all that. This is even bigger than that, I think. This is absolutely going to be changing how your opponents are thinking how they deploy, and that could give you a psychological advantage right there because maybe they're going to be a little bit more conservative with how they deploy and what objectives they're going to cover. If they've got an obvious weak spot on one flank, they're like, oh, well, he can just throw all the Pathfinders and Jyn down there, and then those guys are gone. They're not going to be able to stand a chance. So,
right.
Very cool stuff.
And, it opens up what are we going to see for Death Troopers and Krennic? Because neither one of those are going to have, I wouldn't expect them to have Infiltrate.
So there's actually an
won't
argument to be made for the Death Troopers because they were getting hot dropped in the middle of the battle out of the TIE Reapers.
Yeah, the TIE Reapers. But I mean,
that's not really their thing,
right?
But,
they're more of a brute
argument
force elite shock troop,
yeah,
kind of thing. So
I see
doubling down on what the Empire does already,
right?
Yeah. I see them being a more traditional heavy infantry role.
Yeah,
with some higher firepower. And
I think you'll see what I think you'll see out of them because like these guys are a hybrid of rebel troopers and the commandos, right? I think what you're going to find, Death Troopers being is kind of a hybrid of stormtroopers and Royal Guard, where
with more firepower.
Yeah. Right. But they're going to be something that maybe you get, you get move and steady, but they got a speed 2 move.
Yeah.
So you can move 2 and then fire, which would be helpful chasing people that hot dropped into the middle of your game and are now running away with your objectives. Yeah. Something like that, where they're going to be a much more mobile and tanky, probably they might have 2 wounds apiece because they're elite troopers.
And I'm waiting for the Krennic card to have the Imperial escort,
something
so
like
bring
right. Of course,
4 units of Death Troopers.
I mean, having Entourage, I think is a no-brainer with Krennic and then Death Troopers because they were no kidding, they were his personal guard.
Yeah,
kind of like how the Royal Guard were, Papa Palpatine's. So I'm really excited for what we're gonna get because the ability, speculation, but if you can do a double speed 2 move and then fire at the end of it, please. I like it.
Faster snowtroopers.
Yeah,
that
faster
sounds great.
snowtroopers,
Yeah.
basically.
That are feeding
probably
their danger
hit
sense
harder,
to do it. Yeah.
that hit harder and even more resilient. So
Yeah, so we
Power creep.
speculated a little bit about whether the Pathfinders would play drastically different from what we've seen from Rebels, and they don't, but they play, I think, in a different enough manner to keep them unique.
Yeah, and I think shenanigans are the name of their game.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely. The shenanigans
you
are
look
huge.
at you look at scouts and commandos, and I think they allow you to do things that are different. Snipers put bombs on the field, define the battlefield a little bit more. But they're not. I've most commonly seen them run as strike teams, so you're not seeing the full units out there. But they don't add a whole lot of grabbing objectives and things like that. I think you're going to start seeing this as a special force that's more objective based than kill the enemy based or define the battlefield base.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts on Jyn or Pathfinders? I got a confession. I thought Biston was a little tiny guy. I thought he was like a Warwick Davis guy. Well, he's like full sized in this one.
What do you mean full sized?
He's like
He looks like a wolf man.
Have you ever seen?
Kind of looks like a fat wolf man.
Look at the watch Rogue
I
One.
thought he was a little guy.
He's barely as high as the gun. I mean, the gun's huge.
Well, in this
compared
one,
to him.
he's normal person size. So
Pow's a little bigger than I expected him. I thought Pow was a little smaller in the movie.
They need to put more bananas in Star Wars so we can tell what the size of everything is.
for scale.
I think that's what we're wrapping up with there.
I'm glad Pow's mouth is agape.
Oh,
Right?
yeah. He's just
I feel like it
screaming
would've
the
been-
entire time. Just like that, yeah.
Yeah, he sounds like Howard Dean.
It's like I'm there. Oh, jeez. Who remembers that?
I do.
Who does?
I was on his street team.
Oh, that's right.
Whoa.
That's a
Wow.
conversation for a different. Are you surprised?
Yeah, different podcast.
But yeah, overall, I'm really happy with it. I can't wait to run Jyn Erso and have
Very excited for this.
some nasty melee battles with her.
Yeah, boy, that's gonna be interesting. I like what she brings though.
Yeah.
Fun.
So we'll keep this tabled until the
More
Krennic
reveals.
and Death Troopers come out, and then we can listen to Josh gush about that and not complain about power creep.
Yeah.
Oh, it'll still be power creep. It'll just be power creep in my favor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's okay. It's not power.
Power creep, I can get behind.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. Coming back, we're going to look at the big new rules dump that just got dumped on us today.
Also, tournament news.
And tournament news.
Tournament
Yeah.
news.
Tune in every Wednesday to Radio Free Tatooine, a Star Wars podcast that's better than some and worse than others. Take a trip to a water cooler far, far away as we bring some casual, fun conversation into the Star Wars podcasting community. Hosted by me, Sean, my sister Amy, and John. Radio Free Tatooine. We may not know what we're talking about, but we sure know how to record it. For more, visit RadioFreeTatooine.com, a proud member of the Radio Free Tatooine Podcast Network.
You're listening to the Legion Outriders podcast, a member of the Radio Free Tatooine Network, recorded on location at Power 9 Games. Whether you're looking for the latest releases from Legion, X-Wing, 40K, Magic, or any of our other extensive inventory of board and card games, head to power9games.com and use coupon code OUTRIDER10 to get 10% off your order. Plus, shipping is free on orders over $100. Now, back to the Outriders.
Welcome back, Outriders. John, Josh, and Matt. We got done talking about all the new Rebel goodness, and now we have the rules dump that FFG brought upon us.
Ding
and,
dong, key positions is dead. Hooray. Long live key positions.
I almost want to say, like, oh, they listened to Josh, but I feel like this was,
Everybody and their
probably-
mother was
yeah.
complaining about key positions since the first Max Firepower tournament was run.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
But good on them for stepping up and actually amending these rules.
Yeah,
and
identifying something that was widely panned
abusive,
throughout the community, but they did it in a way that was well thought out and wasn't just like impulsive. They didn't just like, knee-jerk reaction, not think about what the possible implications are for the actual game. So good on you, FFG.
What took you so long? Just because I have to be contrary and negative.
Of course.
Yeah. But no, I think it's great, and I think there's some folks out there that think it could have been changed in different ways, because really what we got here is we got the frag grenades of objective cards now. Because, frag grenades, it's not quite a concussion grenade, it's not quite an impact grenade. Key positions now is not quite intercept the transmissions, but it's also not quite capture the supplies. It's kind of a hybrid of the two, where intercept the transmissions. You got one in the middle, and then two equidistant from that, halfway in between that objective and the long board edge. This is essentially what you're going to end up with now with key positions, because you got one in the middle on the closest piece of terrain to the middle of the board, and then each player gets to select where one goes.
Yeah.
So of course they're going to put it as close to their deployment zones as possible. So yeah, I mean, I don't mind the change. I think it makes the variation of missions that you can run in the game a bit more vanilla. Because if I can now, if I put together a list that can either do recover the supplies or intercept the transmissions, I now also have a list that's going to be capable of doing key positions. I don't have to, but I like it a lot better than being faced with the decision of, well, do I take a 50-point bid or auto lose if I don't get red? Or I don't
Exactly.
Red,
And yeah, it may be vanilla, but what's the most popular flavor of ice cream? Vanilla.
Neapolitan.
Whatever.
Rocky Road.
Cookie dough.
Ooh, but if you're gonna go to a tournament
Fish
and
food.
if you're playing for a competitive game, you don't want to have just that dictate the winner or loser of every game.
No, absolutely not.
You want to have the actual tactics and stuff play a role into it.
Right.
So
it wasn't effectively in the barrel scenario. Okay, what you players getting in the barrel, because you're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're happy to see that. And going over the rules, first, just want to give a shout out to Nick Freeman, our friend of the show, because he did a very, very thorough pour over.
Very quickly. That
very
dropped
quickly.
this morning, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm coming into this blind. I told these guys I've had a busy day and I hadn't been able to sit down and read through it. I'm kind of glancing around right now. Holy crap, Nick! Thanks, bud.
Well,
Cliff notes, yeah.
Let's be honest too. I mean, I doubt he just saw this drop at noon our time and then very quickly wrote an article.
What? Stop.
We have playtesters
I'm
in
disillusioned.
this community. I'm sure there are plenty of people out there with NDAs that once it hits the street, then
and
becomes
update. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, if that article wasn't preloaded, ready
You're
to
right.
go.
You're right. That was naivety on my part.
Wait, you're saying so he's not a soothsayer? He didn't he didn't
prognosticate his way.
Nostradamus.
No, yeah,
he is not.
Write this 3,000 words on just stuff he was picking out of a hat.
Nick Freeman, I need you to either confirm or deny that you have supernatural powers of
that crazy old
of
wizard.
telling the future, because I'm not convinced that you don't.
I, however, have not signed an NDA, so when I predict things like minor characters as unit upgrades,
because nobody trusts
that's
you with
me being
anything.
awesome. I don't trust me with anything.
You know,
Matt.
for sure.
Come on.
So okay, key positions, good. Well,
So, yeah.
you're going to put it back in your rotation now for
Probably-
games.
Well, yeah. I mean, because that changes now the calculus in a really big way. Because, like I said, if you can build a list that's good for intercept and capture, that list will work for key positions. So now, okay, there's a lot more. Your objective cards just got a lot more homogenous. There's nothing really weird in there that you have to plan for, because a lot of people were list building around needing a big bid so they could be blue players, so they could get key positions.
Okay.
So you play against me, and I bring battle lines and breakthrough, because
Yeah,
that's how I win the game.
That's it. He just runs. He's a marathon runner.
13 activations.
Yeah, he's got the runs.
Take dodge and battle line
Archiquettes are
breakthrough.
natural sprinters.
and then you'll play me, and just the way it's worked out, every card in my deck is Long March.
When you get
I
the
don't know how this
Wookiees,
happened.
you'll have to set them up where they brachiate through the trees
Oh, right.
into the enemy
They what?
deployment zone.
Brachiate.
Brachiate.
They what?
Swing from branch to branch.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, so
I had to drop some reading rainbow on you.
You did.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was one of the
rapid
cards we saw.
reinforcements.
Rapid
What
reinforcements
about
is a little
this? This is
change,
kind of
yeah.
a big deal, right?
Right. So now they've just basically added it, because before it was that you couldn't drop commander units. Now they've just also added you can't do operative units. So in place,
is that really the only change?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay.
From what it looks like,
I was looking for something for like 1.4.
No, and it's the same thing with force choke. You can't force choke.
Yeah.
But I think
anymore.
they changed with rapid reinforcements. They changed when it comes on the table, correct? Because before it was always at the end, right? That you had to do it.
Starting with the blue player sets aside 1 to 2 friendly, non-commander, non-operative trooper units, marking each unit with a condition token. When a player draws an order token with a rank that matches a friendly set-aside unit, if they cannot choose a unit on the battlefield with a matching rank, they must place that set-aside unit onto the battlefield. So
the reason why I mentioned that was because Nick and a few other people on the chat were talking about how this makes an entire legion a lot more viable, because when you play an entire legion, now you can dictate when those units come out,
right? Because you don't want to, if you've got everybody within range, you're not dipping into the bag, right? You can activate all of your units that you have tokens for on the board, and then rapid reinforce.
You can choose rapid reinforce earlier,
right?
Which you couldn't do before.
Right.
So I think
at the end of the round, so they're not going to get shot at.
Or you could choose to drop your rapid reinforcement before they drop theirs, thus preventing them from being able to drop in an area where you wanted it.
Beyond range 2.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, there's some differences with how that's going to play, and as
subtle but interesting.
Yeah, as was pointed out on the Facebook group, that adds more viability to the effectiveness of an entire legion.
Right.
Okay.
So that was another little point difference that we saw. We saw a bunch more keywords that were added.
Yep. So almost all of the keywords that are going to be in the specialists expansions. Mm-hmm. So treat, repair, and I love how they've done these. So there was speculation that there were going to be repair bots and then medics in these in the specialist packs. And now we get a look at what the mechanics for those are actually going to be. So on the card, it will say treat X, and then it is capacity Y. Okay. So what that means is it's a free action during that unit's activation, and you basically say, okay, I am going to treat this turn. When you treat, you take a wound token and you put it on the medic card, essentially. Okay. That is your capacity. Okay. So you can only treat up to you can only treat a number of times up to the capacity of that unit. Okay. So if it's capacity 2, you can only heal twice.
Okay.
That
makes sense.
So once you've hit that capacity, and unless there is a mechanic that allows you to dump that capacity off, but basically what it means is you can't sit there and heal 6 times during the game.
Okay.
So it limits the utility of it.
But it also means that there's going to be a variation of effectiveness for these models that can treat. So they won't all just be, treat 1 wound.
Right. So we don't know what the treat number is, but when you treat, so you put a wound on for the capacity, and then once you do that, you can treat a number of wounds equal to the treat number. So if it's treat 2, capacity 2, so I can heal a total of 4 points during the game. Now there's some limitations to that though. Okay. It has to be healing wounds or bringing back minis. So you can bring guys back from the dead. Okay. Right. But it has to be damage sustained that round.
Oh, so you can't combat stims.
So you can't. Yeah. Well, but what you can't do is like, that DLT over there died 2 turns ago. Let me truck my medic over there and bring him back to life.
Oh, I didn't even consider that. I was thinking of it strictly as like a unit attachment, like they're only treating guys in that unit or something.
And it may be just in the unit, but
who knows?
Then,
yeah.
If you're because I don't know.
Maybe it's independent solo. Who knows?
But you can't bring guys back, or you can't because you can heal because it's take wounds off, or bring guys back from the dead. So you should be able to treat hero units.
Okay, so maybe it's a range thing,
But I mean, if your guy takes damage 2 turns ago and there's no medic near him, you can't bring somebody over and smack a back-to-patch on it and heal them.
Sorry, man, you already got MRSA. There's nothing
I can do for you, man. You're gonna die. Sorry. I can give you morphine and make you more comfortable while you die, but that's about it.
So is that pretty similar to how the repair keyword works
The
as
repair
well?
keyword's probably going to work. Looks like it's going to work the exact same way.
Oh, really? That
Now,
makes less
here's the
sense.
interesting thing about repair.
Okay.
If I have an ATST that's broken and has lost a weapon or something, and it's got a damage token on it, and I repair it back above that threshold, the token comes off.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Which is really nice if you get that weapon destroyed on an ATRT.
Or if it's past...
Or on a snow speeder.
Or even if it's past the threshold. If I'm reading this correctly, say, you've got an ATST. It's got 11 wounds.
Okay.
Right? And the break threshold is 8 on it?
Yep.
So say you repair 1 wound. So say it's sitting at 10 and you repair it and you only repair 1 wound on it.
Okay.
That token still comes off.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So
you can have an ATST with 9 wounds stomping around unhindered.
So if they have
That's
that
spicy.
9 wounds
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden they get a 10th wound,
Nope.
does that... So they're past that
They're
damage
past the
threshold, so
threshold.
they cannot break again.
Yep. Because you break when you hit.
That's really how that works?
Yeah, that's
wow.
what it looks like.
That we may,
I don't want to go into reading the entire card text.
No.
And feel free
that's
to correct
fair.
me, Legionnaires, if I'm wrong.
Yeah, this is a first pass,
Yeah, so
kind of
we
thing.
haven't
We're
had
probably
a
gonna
whole lot
get
of
some
time to
stuff
digest all of this. But
Yeah.
at first blush reading, that's what it looks like. It reads
that's
like.
dope.
That's
I like
nice.
that. Yeah.
That's really nice. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really cool stuff in here.
So speaking of the vehicles, well, let's get to the last keyword because there was another keyword that was added, right? We had treat, we had repair,
resilience,
and there was non-combatant.
Well, yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of other keywords that have
Yeah.
been added in here. Yeah, there's now a non-combatant keyword, which
there it is.
makes you wonder. I could see the medical droids getting non-combatant.
Oh, yeah, for
added
sure.
to them. But what that also brings in is maybe that brings some. We talk about kind of the missions getting a little bit more vanilla. Well, now you've got a defend the VIP type scenario, or an escort scenario where you've got somebody who's a non-combatant.
I'd say there's a scenario for that for like those that play Infinity. There's VIP secure type thing. Yeah.
So if you've got a VIP mini,
Here comes Mon
attach
Mothma.
Yeah, let's not do escort missions from anybody who's ever played any kind of.
But they have the best rewards, man.
Oh. I remember anytime I played Grand Theft Auto and you had to escort this person to this next checkpoint, and they're always getting themselves killed. Just no escort missions.
You're talking about the
please.
first Grand Theft Auto, right?
Any of the Grand Theft Autos. Just any of them where it's like, hey, take this person, take this, crime boss's daughter to go shopping, and it's like you get 3 blocks away and she managed to get herself killed.
I mean, we all know how that turned out for Vincent in Pulp Fiction. So
right, exactly. Yeah.
Escort
Don't ever
quest.
take
Yeah.
escort missions.
Yeah.
Terrible idea.
But I mean, maybe there'll be options for other like unit attachments like 3PO and stuff that don't make sense to have them slinging guns on the field. But
just because we never saw C-3PO slinging guns doesn't mean he can't do it.
I mean, we're going to have that eventually with Dr. Aphra and BT and 000 and all that. That'll be fun. She's a doctor. That
there
has
was also a kind of a change to leaving the battlefield. They clarified that you can't voluntarily leave the battlefield.
Oh.
So what that means...
You can't kill me, I quit.
Now, well, I mean, but what that also means is, we've looked at some scenarios, and I think we had this when we played, Matt. We've had scenarios where, I mean, what we end up doing when we play is we generally, unless there's an obstruction there or something, we just put the movement tool in, pick it up, and put it at the end.
Yeah.
Right? The mini is supposed to move along that path.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Well, now, and this came up in a game that we had played where I had a bike, had to do a compulsory move, which is not voluntary.
Right.
And it did a 90-degree, and the base left the battlefield along the movement tool. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Remember
Okay.
that?
Yeah.
And we ruled it that legal move.
Screw it. Who cares?
Not a legal move anymore.
Really?
If any portion of the base leaves the field, units destroyed.
Yeah, I feel like...
Sweet, I won that game.
So now the operative word there is voluntarily. So you can't move an ATRT on a 90-degree where it would end up leaving any part of it would leave the battlefield. Right?
Wait, are you
You'll have to pivot and move.
Oh.
But a repulsor vehicle that has a compulsory move, you can't pivot before a compulsory move.
Right.
It's the first thing. So that bike is going to leave the battlefield and be destroyed.
Yeah.
That's not good. Yeah, that's...
Well, just be a better pilot, driver,
Fly better.
whatever. Yeah, fly better.
Fly better. Get good.
Yeah,
Now,
that sounds good.
Speaking of vehicles, there was another thing that we saw on there that
What
that
did it do?
clarified something with vehicles. I'm trying to remember what it was now.
There's one that I saw that they don't displace like emplacement troops.
Right.
So
yep,
makes
yep.
sense.
No. The
You can
standby.
jump. Oh, standby.
So
yeah.
standby.
Standby
Oh,
works in
yeah.
vehicles now.
That is awesome.
Ground vehicles, not repulsor vehicles.
Hercules.
Right?
Yep. So ATSTs, ATRTs, you can now stand by with those. So if you want to park those flamethrower ATRTs around the corner of a building and area denial, that whole
Pork
thing.
chop sandwiches.
Or pork chop sandwiches, if they're foolish enough to move into range 1 or But yeah, so that's a kind of cool option that wasn't there before. That just it makes sense, But yeah, a lot of rules to go over, a lot of good stuff to peruse before we start.
And here's the other thing about standby with the vehicle, right? What's the common way to get a standby token off of a trooper unit?
Why you shoot them?
You shoot them and give them a suppression,
Yeah.
right? Well, that doesn't work with a vehicle.
ATSTs don't believe in your suppression.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
Wow.
I laugh at your shots.
So even if they take a wound from
A
say
ranged attack,
HH-12
standby's
or
still
something like
there.
that.
Right.
Oh wow.
Wait.
Yeah.
Does
What-
it?
What?
Wait, what?
An HH-12,
What's that?
the rocket launcher.
I've never seen this in
never-
this game before.
Oh,
heard of
it's
those.
true. Yeah.
Wait.
Which now probably
Okay,
becomes
wait.
a lot
Now I
more
gotta
prevalent
look up
because
standby.
I'll sit at range 4 and plink you with my rockets.
Yeah.
Now if you get an ATST that's sitting on top of an objective with a standby token, maybe it's a little bit more worth your while to have an HH-12 in your army to lob rockets.
I did see that you can now jump over vehicles. That was clarified.
Yep.
So I did have an instance one time where I was trying to jump over an ATST with Luke, and somebody
Well, that
said
sounds
that
exciting.
wasn't allowed, and I was like, I absolutely can. And I thought maybe it was because Luke was white, and they thought Luke could not jump.
Oh, here you gotta go.
But it's a Woody Harrelson reference I can make.
Oh, that was him. Yeah, him and
Wesley
Wesley Snipes.
Snipes.
Yeah. Wow.
And Rosie Perez. Little known fact.
Oh, the little no. Yeah, I'll agree.
So yeah, I mean that kind of wraps up the cursory look at the rules. If you guys have any clarifications you want to make, or if we just blatantly got something wrong, which is
Very likely.
yeah, it's a probability. Go ahead and berate us on Facebook and tell us why we're wrong, why you hate us, and what we can do
Wow,
to be
damn,
better.
you're just bringing just expecting the worst.
Well, yeah, but that means they're going to be.
I've
less
seen
harsh.
nothing from this community to
There's
incur such.
one more thing that got added and explained a little bit better. Sidearm melee and sidearm ranged.
Oh,
Because the
okay.
Electro Staff has sidearm melee, and
Yeah.
the limited card text that you see on the upgrade doesn't really explain it that well. I was like, maybe I don't really understand sidearm melee. What? Basically, what that means is, so if I've got a DLT, right,
Yeah.
or I've got an equipped upgrade card, I can choose to attack with the weapon printed on the card, right? DLT.
Yeah.
DLT can attack with grenades.
Sure.
Or a flame trooper can attack with grenades, or their ranged weapon, right?
Yeah.
Basically, what the sidearm means is you have to use that weapon in an attack.
Okay.
So, and why that comes in is, I mean, you look at the force pike that the Royal Guard carries, it's
Yeah.
a red and a black.
He's not running around with Electro Staff and a
Force pike.
Yeah.
Right. So if he's engaged in melee, even though there's a printed weapon on the card,
Yeah.
the force pike, he has to use the Electro Staff. That's basically what the sidearm rule means.
Gotcha.
So
That makes sense.
Similar with ranged, if you have an upgrade like the DLT, if the DLT had sidearm on it and you were performing a ranged attack, he couldn't throw a grenade,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Or he couldn't use something else. He could only use that ranged weapon in a ranged attack, which is nice.
Okay.
That's kind of neat.
Yeah.
So, I didn't really understand the whole melee, the whole sidearm
Yeah.
keyword previously.
Now it makes sense, yeah.
Now
Yeah.
it makes a lot of sense. And it makes sense, right? Yeah.
So I think that pretty much wraps up our rules analysis for now. If we get more stuff that we find out,
analysis
we
kind of
skimmed over. Well, all right, we leave the analysis for people like Nick Freeman and LJ.
Yeah. We're the beer and peanuts podcast.
The new rules we like segment.
Yeah, right.
the interesting stuff that jumped
things
out at
that
us.
calmed Josh down.
Woosah.
Hey, I gotta tell you, man. I mean, between and we talk about the podcast and stuff like that. Sometimes it feels like work, right? There's a lot to do to keep a podcast going, and admittedly, I've been a little down on the game. That kind of like,
well, I hope this has brought you down.
Me,
good.
There's a lot. I see the bright light at the end of the tunnel, and it's not the oncoming train of X-wing.
No. It's a giant Star Destroyer that's coming through.
Is that why it's moving so slowly?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so before we get out of here, we had some tournament talk we want to go over. So
some big important stuff.
What did we see from the LVO?
LVO. Josh, you want to do the honors?
64 players now.
64.
Great.
Hot
so
confirmed.
I went from 60th place to now 64th place.
Right. Well,
50th. Yeah. 50th. Don't you dropped 14 spots? Sorry, man.
Oh, okay. Well,
you are no longer guaranteed a top 50 finish.
I still
which
want
I'm
that giant
very
check.
disappointed about.
Get one game, man. You can do it. I know you can.
I can win one game.
Yeah, you can.
I can do it. So somebody wants to show up with a 750 point bid. Play me in game one.
I'm your Huckleberry.
I'll
That's
still lose.
Literally impossible to do. By the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
You still got
whatever the bear.
Yeah. The commander.
I need the Imperial Officer upgrade guy, and then
it'd be like
3
a 500
stormtroopers.
point bid.
Yeah. All right. Somebody wants to show up with
550 point bid.
Somebody show up with a max bid and play against me, so I can get one win.
There you go.
I can pretend like I have the credentials to run a podcast.
Boo-hoo. Yeah.
But yeah, so 64 guys now. No word yet whether or not they're going to expand the number of.
Well, it's still going to be 4 rounds, so it makes sense if they're going to authorize more people to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, but okay, so we don't know that for sure yet, though. It's still 6.
Yeah, because FFG has to, they have to have enough slots in the high command at Adepticon to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Right. So if right now they've got a number that they're thinking of how high, how many people high command's going to be, and we go, hey, we just upped our number. Can we get 2 more qualifiers, 2 more automatic bids? Maybe that screws up their math.
Yeah. Could be.
So, and speaking of Adepticon, did have some news on that front.
Yeah,
too, right?
tickets went on sale on Sunday.
And tickets are now off sale.
Immediately.
Now, is that for convention passes, or is that just
That's for Legion stuff.
Okay,
I
so
think
that's for
there's
the
other
Legion,
stuff.
the last chance max firepower, last chance qualifier.
I got the emails like, cool, I'm going to head home and I'll try to get on this. And then I started seeing chatters like, I was in the waiting room and I kept hitting refresh and I didn't even get a ticket before it was closed. I was like, oh.
Guess you're just going to have
to continue on with my day then.
Yeah, don't worry. You're just going to have to win your invite at LVO.
Sure. Who do I need to stab? What?
Nick Freeman.
Oh, okay.
And LJ,
he's already
LJ
qualified.
Pena.
Yeah, that's really my best shot is getting one of those guys in the finals, assuming I can win 3 games, which is a big stretch. And then they're saying, well, we're already going.
You think
so
Nick would dump a game to you just to get you the qualifier?
I mean, maybe if I said please.
That's cute.
No,
As they say down south, bless your heart.
Oh, thanks, bud. It should be a lot of fun, though. I don't really care. I was hoping to go to Adepticon to at least play. I mean, not expecting to win the last maximum firepower before the big thing, but at least participate and hang out and see that. I might still do that. We'll see. Apparently they were doing a doubles event too, but it looks like that filled up because there's only like 16 players. So, but I'm gonna keep my eye on it, see if any slots open up. One of the guys in my Star Wars Galaxies guild actually got tickets to both, and he's like, I'm not really even sure what these are. So I'm like, well, if it turns out you're not going to be going, let me know.
I mean, worst case scenario, you can just hang out outside with a cardboard sign saying "We'll play Legion for food."
Yeah,
yeah.
Not even good food.
Just do a guerrilla podcast from there, just right from the floor.
I mean, actually, that'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Just because community, man, community.
Just record on a bull like a bullhorn. Just stand outside on the street. I'm Matt from the Legion Outrider podcast.
What are your Wookiees doing right now?
And the thing is I'll be right there at the same volume.
Yeah.
Without a
bullhorn.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
He's a very loud man.
I am.
Yeah. Fun fact: we actually leave Josh in the corner of the room, and he just
Yeah, I'm actually 15 feet away from.
Yeah, he projects.
Podcast.
All right, well, that pretty much wraps up.
No, it doesn't.
No,
You got one more thing.
One more
What's
thing.
that?
It's Thanksgiving, man.
Oh, it's Thanksgiving.
It's Thanksgiving.
At least here in the
This is
States.
like episode 36, 37.
For everybody else, it's Thursday.
37.
Yeah.
Well, it will be Thursday.
Yeah, well, no, we're going to put this out tomorrow. It'll be Wednesday. But,
Okay.
we're leading into
Well,
Thanksgiving.
if you're not in the U.S., happy tomorrow, everybody.
Yeah.
And for everybody in the U.S.,
Matt.
hey, happy Thanksgiving.
What are you thankful for, man?
I am thankful, and I think I was just gushing about it a moment ago, but I'm going to bring it up again. The Legion community. Man, what a bunch of awesome people that are involved in this whole grand project of, building a war game from the ground up and making sure people are welcomed. Just the amount of people, the community leaders and the people commenting on posts, putting up pictures of progress, battle reports, all that stuff. I have really rarely seen anybody get shouted down for, just
There
being
is that.
a troll.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I am grateful for that, and also pie.
John, what are you
What
thankful
kind of
for?
pie? Hold
It
on.
doesn't matter.
Whoa.
We'll
It
investigate
doesn't
this
matter.
further.
No, it doesn't matter.
Rhubarb,
Sure. All pies.
All pies.
That's a lie. Nobody's thinking.
meat pie.
Oh,
is
especially
amazing.
meat pie.
Yes.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Oh, John, what are you thankful for, man?
God, I'm thankful for Duncan and Sarastro. Sarastro. Because they make my life as a painter a lot easier.
Oh, that's nice.
Josh,
That's nice.
what are
Wow,
you
that
thankful
was
for?
okay. Wow,
I
that
was
that
hoping to
short
hear
and
more
sweet.
about his.
I
Yeah.
know.
No, that was
Right?
really
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
all.
I'm.
Not your nice girlfriend that puts up with you from
She
miles
doesn't listen to
away?
this show.
She's in
Oh.
Italy.
She's getting me news from the future. That's where the leaks really
It's
come
not,
from.
you know, what are you thankful for that's listening right now? It's
Yeah, I'm thankful for my family and my girlfriend. Yeah, of course.
you
but-
loser.
Yeah, we're gonna go there with it. I mean,
I'm just kidding.
but
That's
first
fine.
of all, my teammates give me
Yeah.
110%.
Yeah.
Make sure you thank God in there.
Yeah,
too.
oh,
Yeah.
You take me upstairs. Give me all the
all
gifts.
the-
Yeah. Just a side.
So write that
and
down.
I would probably, I'm sure I'll offend somebody, but just once in a sports interview, I want to see somebody be like,
All me,
yeah,
baby."
we'd have won, but God made me throw 3 interceptions. Like,
What comedian did you rip that
Yeah,
off
Nobody.
that's a bit
That's
somebody's done. I've heard that
That
before.
is a
It's not?
bit. I feel like
It
it's
is.
either Daniel
It is.
Tosh
It
or
is.
yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
no, I
find
think
it.
it was.
is
I
it?
think it might have
I've
been Daniel
never,
Tosh.
I don't listen to Daniel Tosh.
well,
or
then
Dave
you're-
because I have, standards in class and self-respect.
No,
Daniel
let's
Tosh
not
is on
go
a different
crazy.
level. It's gonna be a whole different
Yeah, yeah.
conversation. Daniel Tosh is awesome.
Yeah,
Anyways,
I'm grateful for Daniel Tosh and his
I'm
great
thankful
comedic
for original
styling.
jokes that I came up with.
You tell yourself, buddy.
No, actually, I'm my thankful for is actually kind of a subset of yours.
Oh,
Matt.
okay.
Our listeners.
Oh, I
I
thought you were
mean-
going to go with pie.
No. I'm also thankful for other certain types of pie, sometimes with ice cream. But
Ooh,
I'm
fancy
thankful for
pie.
our listeners. You
Yeah.
know, we started this. This is episode 37. We started this about 40 weeks ago, not really knowing what the hell we were doing or what we were getting ourselves into.
Has that changed?
No, it
Okay.
hasn't. But slowly we've we've built a following, and
Yeah.
we don't do this for us. I've got plenty of other things I could be doing right now, but we do it for the people that actually care enough to listen to us.
And shoot us nice messages and
Yeah,
Give us
and
tips
tease with
about,
us, right?
I do it because
Yeah.
I'm legally obligated to be here.
Is this your
not.
community service?
Yeah, I've got one of those Emilio
That-
Estevez and Mighty Duck situations
Your
going
boss
on.
outside,
nice.
and he's gonna throw you back in the clink if you don't
Yep.
do this as a community service.
Yeah.
No, but I mean,
You guys are my Mighty Ducks.
Thanks, bud. Flying V on the way out of here.
Ducks fly together.
That's right.
there's a lot of podcasts out there. There's
Yeah.
a lot of sources out there. People could choose to not listen to us. So the folks that do, thank you. And
That's
you
for sure.
guys and the camaraderie of kind of Outrider Nation is what makes continuing to do this a lot of fun and makes it worthwhile. So
Well, I didn't want to say this, but I knitted us all sweaters. And
Yeah, I was gonna say, cue the Golden
Yeah.
Girls theme song. Thank you for being a friend.
Yeah.
Do do do.
Yeah, I get to be Blaine. Is it Blair?
Blanche.
Blanche, that's the one.
Oh my God, you don't know
totally-
the Golden Girls? My heart.
one's the horny
I clearly do.
Oh.
That was Blanche.
That was Blanche. Blanche Devereaux. She was the yeah.
Yeah, the
one that
Southern Belle.
No. Oh, never mind.
You're
Yeah.
talking
Okay.
about the short, angry,
Yeah, the short, angry
Yoda-looking one.
old one.
Yeah,
That's
Estelle,
what I
Estelle
wanted.
Getty.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's
Selma.
who I am. I'm
She was
Estelle
all,
Getty.
You are Estelle Getty,
Yeah,
for sure.
Totally.
I'm Patty and Selma.
I'm B. Arthur.
There
Let's
you
be
go.
real here. I'm B. Arthur.
You're the adult in the room.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm also
She's probably about as
the
tall as you,
largest. Yeah,
too,
I was gonna
so.
say, yeah. Fun fact: former Marine, B. Arthur.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, guys, that's enough diatribe.
That's a thing I know now.
Enough tangents for today. Thanks for listening, guys, and we'll catch you next week, hopefully with more news and less rules errors.
You've been listening to the Legion Outriders podcast, a member of the Radio Free Tatooine Network.
Only now, at the end, do you understand?
For more from the Outriders, make sure you like us on Twitter @Legion Outriders, subscribe to our Facebook page at facebook.com/Legion Outriders, and make sure you like and subscribe to the podcast. Thanks for listening.
You're all clear, kid. Now let's blow this thing and go home.